It never came to be. It never came to be. Because part of it was taken by Egypt, which is Gaza. All right? And part of it was taken by Jordan, which is the West Bank. In other words, where there were Arab territories that were supposed to be independent. In Gaza, the Egyptian troops moved in. In the West Bank of Judea and Samaria, the Jordanians troops, they were welcomed. You see? They were welcomed by the local Arab population. They just forgot to leave after the agreement of the ceasefire between the Israelis and the Jordanians and the Israelis and the Egyptians. All right? So as the result of that, no Palestinian state was born. Okay? We will continue with this, but I have a couple of things to read to you. May I? That will be the end. Let's see if I can wake my computer up again. And what I wanted to read, you see, today we have West Bank and Gaza. Gaza is controlled by Hamas. You're probably familiar with that. Mm-hmm. And the West Bank, where we're going to go tomorrow, is controlled by the PLO, Palestinian Liberation Organization. And I have a Hamas charter here. In other words, a document of the organization called Hamas. It's like their constitution, what we would call a constitution. They call it charter. Is it a good word? Yes. Charter? Mm-hmm. Letter? Charter? Yes. Okay. All right. All right, and that's it's a quote from the charter. You can find it on the internet. The Islamic Resistance Movement, that's Hamas, right? That's how they call themselves. The Islamic Resistance Movement believes that the land of Palestine is an Islamic waqf consecrated for future Muslim generations until the judgment day. It or any part of it should not be squandered. It or any part of it should not be given up. There is no solution for the Palestinian question except through jihad. Initiatives, proposals, and intentional conferences are all a waste of time and vain endeavors. After Palestine, the Zionists aspire to expand from the Nile to Euphrates, right? According to the Bible, right? When they will have digested the region they overtook, they will aspire to further expansion and so on. Their plans is embodied in the protocols of the elders of Zion, and goes on and on. So for them, there is no Jews. All right, they should not exist, and it should be achieved not through the agreements or deals, but through jihad. Okay. So, but come on. All right, we're familiar with this. Okay? I would like to read you something that I picked up in a church, the flyer that I picked up in a church, which is a Presbyterian Church of Scotland, in Jerusalem, here in Jerusalem. And it gives you a little survey of what are the people in this church. Okay, ready for that? Interesting quote. It talks about various Christian people that live here since the days of Jesus. That's what they talk about. During Crusaders, when the invading armies of Western Christianity slew not only the Jews and Muslims, but also the indigenous believers of the Eastern churches. After the expulsion of the Crusaders, the local church spent several centuries of quiet existence as a recognized minority within the Ottoman Empire, which is true. The Christians in the Ottoman Empire recognized minority. It's called the Millet minority. Never mind. Okay, listen to this. But the 20th century has seen the Christian community once again face upheaval that have threatened its very existence. Now, what are those upheavals? What are those troubles? There are many Christians amongst the hundreds of thousands of Palestinian refugees who fled the country in the events surrounding the creation of the State of Israel in 1948. Many other Christians have immigrated since then in face of the economic and political hardships caused by life as the minority of Israel or under the occupation in the West Bank or Gaza. These factors combined with the huge Jewish immigration and a high Muslim birth rate have seen the proportion of Christians in the population fall to mere 2.5% in 1980. Can I use the good English word bullshit? And that's in the Christian church. All right? This is what a Jewish person in the state of Israel who comes into the Christian church, and it's not a Catholic church, it's a Presbyterian church, right? Picks up this, reads about it, and he reads what? That all the troubles of the Christians are because of the existence of the state of Israel. Friends, why should they believe in Jesus? You tell me. Why? It is just, it's mind-boggling. You know, it's very, very difficult. I can understand the Muslims, they don't hide it. They put it on the internet page and all that. You know, we're pretty much aware of that. But what about the Christians? Okay? So there's lots of interesting things to think about concerning Israel. In our Christian life, though we're not living here, right? We live far away, but still as Christians, what do we consider Israel? Why do we think Israel is important for us to live? And we will try to answer these questions in this trip. And we tried to cover some of that, right? And we will continue to cover more as much as we can.
It's pretty simple, though, Mickey. Israel is God's land for the Israelites. End of the story. It doesn't matter what it says there. That's what it is.
Well, but you can see how complicated this whole thing is. But thank you for encouragement. And friends, tomorrow there will be another lecture.
For 48 on then.
Actually, a 6 o'clock lecture. It will not be me, but it will be one of the Messianic Jewish pastors. He will not give you a political spiel, but he will simply share about his life and ministry in Israel. Okay, as a pastor. So if you have questions, think about the questions if you have concerning, maybe he's like, I would ask him if I were you, this is why Jews reject Jesus? What's the main obstacle, right? For example, what's his opinion on this? Or what is the relationship between the Jewish Christians and the Arab Palestinian Christians from his perspective? And is anything being done for reconciliation, for example, between those two groups? Things like that. You can ask him, and you will hear firsthand stories. I'm not a pastor, so it's a little bit. I have my perspective, and he has a different perspective as a minister, as a pastor, because that's his job. He brings the light of the gospel to both Jews and Arabs, and he will be able to share some more stuff with you. I was thinking about going a little farther was this, but I think that gives you enough information for right now. We spent about an hour and a half, which two lectures instead of one. But you were listening, and
Maybe tomorrow, if you're driving, get some free time, you kind of finish up a little bit.
I'll try. I'll try. Some bits and pieces here and there. I will try to do that.
Well, what changed between now and the present day and then? I mean, that kind of stuff. How it all changed.
All right. Good night, friends.
Yeah, you make